Hi there, and thank you for being here today. Thank you for joining. We are going to talk about the BIM approach in quantity surveying, and specifically today's topic. What we're going to talk about is the software Open BIM Quantities, which is an excellent tool to work in this discipline in getting takeoffs, measurements, and generating BOQs when we're working in a BIM environment. This tool is also great if we're not doing BIM. It's not a requirement that we use BIM models to use this program. Actually, this is an excellent program to work with bills of quantities, cost management, takeoffs in the traditional workflows, right? But today's approach is the potential or the features that we have in the Open BIM quantities to start working in BIM, and how we can get automation and productivity by using this tool. So I'm going to start right away showing the program and what are the main features and tools that we can use to go more accurate, more precise, and more productive, and to digitalize these workflows in the quantity surveying and takeoffs BOQs. So as you may be already seeing, I'm sharing my screen. This is my desktop, right? The way I access the Open BIM quantities or any of the CYPE softwares, pretty much all of them, I access by using the CYPE menu, which would be this icon. In CYPE programs, we may install the CYPE menu and install the programs in there because we have many programs. So this is simply to get a more tidy appearance in the desktop, but we also have programs that you may install like directly in the desktop. It's up to you, right? So when I start this kind of webinars, and specifically for this program, I like to start by introducing a new file, starting from scratch with a new file in the Open BIM Quantities program, right? So maybe double click here, or if I'm already running the sub menu, this is the sub menu. Maybe you already know it. I have many programs installed here, and I'm opening a new file of Open BIM Quantities. Just a new file from scratch. This is the look of the program when we just start. And we have the possibilities of accessing the examples that come in the program for training purposes. We have the possibility of accessing the file manager for opening files that we already started previously, and the new button. Of course, we have help resources here. So we have a few little things. It's common to the CYPE environment, CYPE programs. Most of them, they start like this. So let's start a new program, a new file, excuse me. I'll just hit accept, new. Yeah, let's write a new name there. So this is the first decision that we may need to make when we start with the program. We may link to a BIM project. We may link to a project in BIMserver.center, or we may not. So in case we actually want to link to a project in BIMserver.center, we may create a new one or select a new project. So I'll explain what BIMserver.center is, right? I'm shutting down my camera so that we may focus on the screen that I'm sharing. 1 second, please. BIMserver.center is our common data environment. It's a free common data environment. To access that platform, you simply need to click to type BIMserver.center. That's the address, right? And to use it, you simply need to register, email, password, and that's it. It's free to use. It's a common data environment, and it's a place where we store our workflows, our project, when we work in BIM. Specifically, we store there the IFC files, the documents for sharing information, and so on. So I'm simply introducing my user and and my password, and I'm there, right? So in BIMserver.center we have a public area, which is like this first look, like a social media sort of a platform where we may share or not share our work, right? For marketing purposes, many companies, they actually make their projects public, or freelancers or students, they generate like a sort of portfolio here, and you may share and react and so on. But the place where we work actually is this private area where we click the projects area, right? And this would be the place where we would be storing our BIM projects. In today's case, we are concerned about the geometry of the building that we're going to read, that we're going to measure, that will come from somewhere else. We are not modeling in Open BIM Quantities. We would be modeling in a BIM modeler, right? So today, for example, you will see that I will show this example, this geometry of a building that has been generated somewhere else. So here, this is the place where we store the models of the building, the geometry of the building itself, the MEP project, the pipes and so on, the structure project with the calculations, rebars, reinforced concrete, beams, columns, and everything. So this is an example. So we are able to mix inside one of these projects the work of many different disciplines and many different programs. So this would be BIM. In BIMserver.center, we work with the Open BIM standards, and specifically with formats such as IFC, open formats, or such as PDF, or so on. Not formats from a specific company, but we're interoperable with different companies, right? So today we're going to specifically show this one, for example. So let's go back to the program. When we start a new file, we may select a new project. So in that case, we would be accessing the list of the projects that I have in BIMserver.center. This list would be exactly that bunch of projects over there. Or I could create a new one, make it visible to everybody or not visible, make it open for collaboration requests or just closed, and so on. And we may even link or not link to a project. We may link later, actually. So, for example, I won't link in this case. So you may see that up here we have the buttons that would allow me to link whenever I wish to a BIM project. So let's dive maybe a little bit inside the BIM models that we may read from here. Let's say we want to actually measure one specific building. So we would have to create a project and upload one specific geometry coming from a BIM modeler, right? So what would be the possible sources of this BIM model? First of all, to create a new project, we may do it from here, from the program itself, right there, or from the BIMserver.center. It's another possibility. This is just an example. And as you see, by just clicking new project, what we get is a new project, an empty one, right? So let's talk a little bit about what could be the sources of this BIM model that we could measure. First of all, you have the possibility of downloading the CYPE menu here. It's a free tool. So that this is the way I access the program. The CYPE menu is nothing more than just this a place where we organize the CYPE programs, right? So it's here. Then the model that we will measure today, it comes from CYPE architecture. And I have another example that comes from CYPE structure project from the reinforced concrete design, calculation, and analysis uploaded to BIMserver.center. So we could measure IFC format coming from a BIM modeler, from other disciplines such as structures, and you don't necessarily have to use CYPE as a modeler, CYPE architecture, for example, or IFC builder for using the Open BIM quantities. In case you have other BIM modeler or another source, a BIM model coming from another BIM modeler, for example, in this case, we have a plugin available. The name of the plugin is Open BIM Revit. So we could upload a project from Revit into the platform BIMserver.center as if it came from any CYPE modeler, right? Or in case we have another model coming from any other modeler, there are many of those out there, Revit, Allplan, Archicad, you name it. As long as you use the IFC file, the IFC format, you could drag and drop the IFC right here. Just pick a name for that contribution and just create contribution. So by drag and dropping an IFC coming from any modeler, we could use Open BIM quantities on that model. So these could be the sources of a model, a building project to start getting the takeoffs, BOQs, documents, cost management, and so on. So this would be an empty file of the Open BIM quantities. I wanted to explain how we may get the models there. And let's say you want to work in a traditional workflow with just 2D plans and traditional measurement rules. It's not a problem. You could actually load the 2D plans in DXF, DWG, image files, PDF, and that's it. And you could, by using these tools over here, load the plan in this area. We're right here in the Bill of Quantities tab, and just directly work, let's say manually in a traditional workflow, not BIM, right? Today we're going to talk about the BIM because like the more advanced area, the features that are more productive, maybe. So let's actually start explaining the program by using an example. I start by actually a simple one. This is an example that we use usually. So let's get started with what we may do with this program. Open BIM Quantities is many things, but one of them, a relevant functionality or feature that it has is it's a great BIM viewer. It's a really interesting tool to actually get familiar, get to know the IFC format. We have an interesting BIM Explorer here, so we may browse the models and display the information contained in a BIM model in a really useful way, right? So the first thing we have is a 3D view area. So I just click Shift and the scroll wheel in the mouse, and I'm orbiting around. I have tools here to control the visibility of the model. Let's say we want to see through the walls, for example. Well, we have that possibility, or maybe we want to section or plan view the model. We have all kind of possibilities to actually visually explore the model. Then we have another panel. This is the entities panel. This is the place where all the elements present in the IFC model, they are listed and classified. The classification is there, right? So we no longer have to be counting how many doors we have in this specific project floor by floor in the plans, right? I just click the IFC door entity in the entities panel, and I know right away that we have 20 doors, and I may identify them because they're highlighted in the model in another color, right? So these two panels, well, all of them, they're interconnected. If I click in one of the elements, that element, it's snapped in this panel. And the other way around, if I click in another element here, well, it is highlighted in the model, right? So it goes both ways. Let's say, for example, I want to pick one specific element. Let's say walls. I'm going to use the walls today as an example. So if I pick the IFC wall in the entities panel, I'm selecting all of the elements that are IFC walls in the model, right? It's really interesting to be able to visually explore and know what's the information management going on in the model. And maybe one of the most important areas of the program is this small panel, the properties panel, where we are displaying the information of the specific elements that we are selecting. Let's say we pick that wall over there. So the program snap this and this. And what we're displaying down here in the properties panel are the specific properties of that specific element that I've just selected. When we talk about walls, we have specific quantities, specific properties of that element that are not there maybe if we pick a window, for example, or a column. So each kind of element, each type or sort of element, it has different relevant values. So in this case, we are talking about a wall. We have the net side area, net volume, gross side area, width, and so on. And I haven't done anything yet. I'm just displaying the information that was already there because we're working with BIM. So I always like to start by this part of the program because actually it's a really interesting feature itself, the possibility of exploring a BIM model in relevant terms, with useful tools here. For example, just as a simple example, many standards worldwide require that we measure the walls, discounting the area of the window that's included inside the wall, right? So in this case, by simply clicking on net side area, we would be seeing what is the quantity of square meters of the side area of that wall already having discounted the opening, right? And we have done nothing actually with the program. We just displayed one piece of relevant information, right? So the next relevant area of the program would be the possibility of create and edit cost databases or cost libraries. I'll explain this feature right away. So the cost databases, the button leads us to another part of the program, which is specifically the cost database editor. It's another window that we just opened. And here we access to a relevant part of the program, which is the possibility of creating structures of information, table format databases, where we list possible construction solutions, right? The program comes with a bunch of blue examples. We cannot actually, when we select the blue ones, they are blocked. We cannot explore them or modify them. But if we want to actually explore them and modify them or see what's inside them, we may actually copy them, generate a copy by choosing any name, and that copy is we are able to explore it. So this is a common format in many parts of the planet. We're talking about the BC3 format, which is the name of the format of this kind of table databases. It's a common database format similar to spreadsheets, but it's specifically meant for the AEC industry and has specific tools to be much more productive for the AEC area more than any regular spreadsheet, right? So this is why we use that one in this format in the Open BIM Quantities. As you see, one database is nothing more, nothing less than a list, catalog of possible solutions, and they are organized in work sections. For example, in Spain, we don't have a mandatory standard in Spain or in the Spanish-speaking areas of America or the Portuguese-speaking world and the French-speaking world. We don't have a mandatory way of choosing these words and classifying the works. This structure of information is defined by the certified technicians that are involved in a project. This is the example that we're going to use for this specific project, for the single family detached houses. I'm going to explain actually how easy it is to create a new database from scratch, right? So you simply need to pick a name. I've just created, I just clicked in that button over there. To import a BC3 file is to recover, to import a previous database, for example, into a new one, maybe to add more things, maybe to merge information, to get information from previous projects. So that's an option. Once we have 1, 2, 3 databases, we may actually then merge them into new sets of information. So I'm just going with the basics, empty. I'm clicking edit up here, and we have the tools here to start generating the database. And if we right click, for example, we have the same tools there. So let's start. Add work section. We need a code, for example, a 0. Let's say facilitating works. Another one, excavations. Oh, excuse me. Another one would be the code first and the description later. And we may see that. Add work section 2, maybe foundations. The most usual way of generating these kind of databases in the Spanish-speaking world, in a lot of parts of the planet, is actually to generate a work section structure that is consistent with the chronology, with the timing of the phases that take place in the construction project. They are other standards based on UK old measurement rules, and then in many countries they became mandatory standards, and they state how to organize these items, right? In this case, depending on the area of where you're working, we simply need to put the words and order and organize things in different ways. But it's easy to do actually. So we've generated a work section structure. Let's say 0.1 to generate a sub structure. And that's it. And maybe if we're talking about facilitating works, let's create a new item. This is the most important, maybe the interesting part of AdCode's database. We need a code to be able to identify the element quickly. I just wrote example 001. A unit. We're talking about one specific solution that will take place in a construction project. So it could be units, let's say doors, windows, tables. They are counted one by one. There are elements that may be counted by linear meters, maybe the perimeter for the fences, maybe certain specific kinds of walls, maybe pipes could be counted in linear meters. And in this case, if we're talking about facilitating works, maybe clearing an area of land of a plot, removing the rocks and vegetation and so on. the plants and the clearing, maybe be square meters or square feet, whatever. So maybe that would be the unit that we would pick. We could specify if we're talking about materials, labor, we could define the type or not do it, define the price per unit. That's it. So here we could start describing that specific solution, like clearing land with specific machinery that we will rent and so on, and it's and transport or not the waste to a place. So we may start describing the specific solution, right? So in the examples, you actually see what we're talking about. So we're defining here is a code, the unit, the description, and the price per unit of one specific activity or material or whatever that takes place in the construction project. So this way, we're generating a new codes database actually easily. Once you've done this once in one project, the next one, you have it already there. We know we don't have to start from scratch. We may import CSV files. This would come from a spreadsheet, from Excel, whatever. So as long as the format is consistent with this structure of information, as long as they have this, it is possible to recover the information that we may have from previous projects, from manufacturer catalogs, and so on, to generate our own codes database. So this is one, maybe the second really important part of this program of the Open BIM Quantities. We've started explaining that we have an interesting BIM Explorer, and now we've explained that we have a really interesting codes database editor, right? So what could we do with this? Actually, it's easy to explain. Once we have the model with all the quantities related with each element, geometrically speaking, about a specific building, and once we have a codes database with possible different solutions for all the different elements, we have many possible solutions to build a wall, or many possible doors that we will buy, high quality, low quality, luxury, wooden doors, metal doors. Usually all that is not defined in the model, or it's not completely defined. The walls, they could be brick plus insulation plus air chamber plus the finish, or it could be one single block of a traditional artisan solution generated this or that way, or it could be concrete or not. And the price could be different because in different areas we may use different solutions. So all that is not defined in the model. All that may be defined in the codes database. So once we have the model and the codes database, we simply need to add or to attach one specific solution present in the database to one specific or to each specific element in the model. Actually, we may put many different solutions into one same element in the model. So this is what we'll do actually. Let's see what we have in the example database for today. It's a simple housing project. It could be the same for similar with a skyscraper, whatever building. This is one that we'll use. We have facilitating works. Today we'll make a quick example with walls. Actually, I'll generate a rule with the walls. And let's actually go ahead and show one quick example. What are we going to do? Let's show how to tell the program that I want to select all the exterior walls, not the internal partitions, not the columns. I only want the exterior walls, and I'm going to assign to that bunch of elements, to that set of elements. I'm going to price them, to describe them and price them. So I'll just assign one specific solution to all the exterior walls in one project, right? So that's what I'm going to do right away. To do that, to connect this and this, we have this tool, the set of measurement rules. To generate a new set of measurement rules and to generate a new measurement rules, we simply need to create a new one. Example webinar, let's say that one, and it's empty. And I'm going to use one simple database that I prepared for these purposes. So what I've done is to prepare, I extracted from here a really small database only with the exterior walls, so that will be easily understandable and visual, right? So I have a new database that only contains masonry and insulation, for example, right? That's two items with code for each one. Actually, they have a breakdown. You may make a breakdown as easily as you may make an item. And with the price per unit, description, and kind of units, it's all there. It's a really small version of the same one that I just explained. So I'll make sure I'm selecting that one, and I'll define a new set of measurement rules, right? So let's go. Edit. It's empty. So I will define one rule to measure and price all the walls, right? Let's say the exterior walls of the project. What we see is that we have two new areas. Here we will define what is the selection criteria, what is it I will pick from the model. And here I will list which are the elements that I will be assigning to that selected elements, right? To that selected elements in the model. So let's say I want to pick all the exterior walls. Add, as easy as that. And I simply need to select all the elements where the entity is equal to IFC wall. Entity IFC wall. Now I've told the program, hey, select all the walls that are present in the model, not the columns, not the doors, not the slabs, not the roofs, not the windows, only the walls. But maybe I don't want internal partitions. I don't want certain kind of walls. I want only the exterior walls. So let's add more criteria, another more precise definition. Let's say from within the walls, I want all of them where the width is the thickest one. So in this model, when I click the blue arrow and I've selected width, the program explains, hey, you have walls with these values for the thickness, only these 4 values. We don't have walls that are 12 centimeters thick. We only have 10, 20, 15, or 30 centimeters thickness for the walls. The exterior walls will be the thickest. So actually I easily identified a criteria to select all the exterior walls. I could use any other criteria. I could actually use the type name to easily select and measure different elements. So this would be maybe a worst case scenario with a model that it's not really good. Maybe I don't have the information. So that's it. I've just told the program pick those elements. So what I'm going to do next is to assign codes from the database to those elements. As easy as selecting one solution from the database and clicking add, the program tells me what is it you want to measure from the wall. In this case, I want the net side area, square meters. I don't want the gross side area because I want to discount the area of the window, and that's it. Masonry, insulation. Again, I need to define what is I want to measure from that element. It has many quantities attached, that wall. So we're concerned about the side area. And that's it. I'm selecting that, accepting, and done. I've just generated a set of measurement rules that will select, describe, and price all the elements, all the exterior walls in the project. I'm actually using that to show how automatically price all that facade of the building automatically. So we'll delete all these because it was already there with the example. And to actually automate and to use the measurement rules to generate the BOQ, we would be using that command over there, update quantities. We make sure that we've selected the right cost database previously, the right set. We click accept. And as you see, we've automatically described and priced all the exterior walls present in this model. Here in the entities panel, you may see that all the elements that are present in the model, they have an orange color over there. And we have a green in the facade of the building. This means that we have actually assigned information to these elements, and we haven't touched yet all the rest. So this is the color code. So we're making sure that we don't skip anything, we don't miss anything. So but simply by doing this again and again, first with the walls and with the foot, well, we will do this in the right order. But by doing this with the footings, with the steel in the rebars, with the windows and so on, with all the project, what we would achieve would be what we have here. If we have a complete database, we simply need to use a complete set of rules for one project. And again, update. And automatically we will have priced the whole project. So we have generated a BOQ automatically. I haven't been typing all these. The program reads automatically the price, the code, description, units, and price per unit. And with the quantities that are present in the model, we are automatically pricing the whole project. And we may display the whole thing with a specific measurement displayed, or we could actually group them, get the information in whatever format we need. If we select the whole thing, actually we not only have the BOQ, but also graphs that will describe what are the areas of the project that take most of the budget. In this case, number 2 is the support structure, the structure that's above the ground. So it makes sense. Actually, we have a big part of the budget in the structure. And we have many possibilities here. The first thing we may do is actually copying the whole table and pasting it in a spreadsheet. So this is the first output of the program. Of course, once we've automated and updated, we may modify them. Then afterwards, we may modify these numbers. So if I want to edit this output, I may edit it. It's not like I'm forced to accept these values. I'm just using tools to be faster in the quantity surveying job. Of course, the cost databases editor gives us possibilities to select plenty. We have many different currencies. We've used euros. You may configure the decimals. Of course, there are different standards worldwide that may require you specific ways of getting the numbers. The same happened with the structure of information. You may actually make your own, so you will be meeting pretty much any standard that may show up. And about what we need to do to make this program work and make get interesting results and productivity and making our lives easier with this with this discipline, takeoffs and BOQs. This is pretty much it. Let's show. There are many, of course, there are plenty of tools. We could be hours speaking about these programs, or the format of the database. Actually, would be to spend hours or days with this. But let's show what we may get out of the program, right? The most immediate output after just copy pasting this into a spreadsheet, Excel, Open Office, whatever, it's possible. Of course, you may, excuse me, just clicked whatever button in my keyboard. You may export and import BC3 format from the databases. So you may reuse your databases in your next project, or you may use your BOQ to use it as a database in another project. We would not, without measurement, a BOQ it's still a database, or a BOQ could be a database measured with the quantity information, right? So you may recycle by exporting and importing. But the most immediate and most used by our users is the BOQ reports. By clicking here, the program automatically generates different possible reports. So we may get the quantities. As you see, these are pages that are generated automatically. I haven't been writing here. So we have an index, the list of the work sections and the activities or items that are take place in this project, and the quantities of each of them. So the amount of cubic meters of excavation with, in this case, mechanical equipment, well, that amount of cubic meters, the amount of square meters for the concrete works or for flat slabs. So we have quantities available there. With this report, the whole project, right? The quantities of the whole project. We may export this and get it out of here into a PDF or into a docx format to edit a text editor, and then just edit it. And we have the last word, of course, with all of our documents. So quantities is one possibilities. We may get the price bill of quantities, not only the quantities, but also the prices and the amount of the price per unit and the amount of units in the format of a table, for example. So this could be the case. This is an example. Not only the quantities, but also the price per unit and the final amount of euros in this case, according to the amount of cubic meters, right? And the whole project again in a few clicks. And you may get this out of here into PDF, docx, the tile price bill of quantities with also, in this case, you may see that's more pages for a small project. There are more pages, index, and not only the quantities and the description and the price per unit and so on, but also the measurements that have take place actually element by element if we want to get that. And we may get the reports directly from the program, but also we may get the reports and share them with the BIMserver.center. So we would be sending information back into our projects in case we have more collaborators or maybe clients or any other kind of collaborator. So we may be sharing information with the BIMserver.center if we wish to. So we may share priced BOQs without the price, only the quantities, and so on. Maybe for the end, we're running out of time for today. I'm going to show another example of maybe a set of measurement rules of how would I measure the amount of steel in the foundations of a structure, because we've been asked a lot about specific standards around requiring users to measure in specific ways. So I have a quick example here. This is concrete structure, reinforced concrete, with actually the rebars present there. This comes from CYPE, an amazing program that generates not only the model, the geometry, where you may define the geometry, the loads, and so on. Of course, the standards, the codes. You may also calculate and generate the model of the reinforced project, reinforced concrete project. So this is the case. In this case, what I did is I'm just quickly showing the measurement rules. Actually, what I may do here is, if I want to measure the amount of steel that is present in the foundation level, what I would do would be generate a new measurement rule. Select all the elements where the entity is the IFC river, reinforcing river, excuse me, and where the, for example, entity, excuse me, where the second, please, I've done it the other way around, where the entity is a building story, and the building story is the foundations, and then, hey, all the parameters where the entity is the IFC reinforcing river, right? So actually, step by step, we are defining different ways of measuring things the way that we need. So as easy as that, we could actually start measuring not only walls or rebars. In this case, we may measure the columns and so on. So many possibilities. And going back to the project, activating my camera again. So thank you very much. Of course, in case you have any questions, you possibly have been writing questions in the chat, so I have to be checking that. And in case you have questions, you may contact us through our different, not only here, we'll answer questions as soon as possible, but also you may contact us, the support team, through the web. You have also the contact channels. So we're here and more than glad to check all the possible questions, right? So thank you very much for being here. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for your time. I hope to see you soon in the next webinar. Have a nice day. Bye.